several mountains in the world which are of incredible height. But here are the top 10 highest mountains in the world. Number 10. Annapurna 1, Nepal. Height 8.091 meters. Annapurna is a massif in the Himalayas in north-central Nepal that includes one peak over 8,000 meters, 13 peaks over 7,000 meters, and 16 more over 6,000 meters. The massif is 55 kilometers long and is bounded by the Kali-Kandagi Gorge on the west, the Mahsyangdi River on the north and east, and the Pokhara Valley on the south. At the western end, the massif encloses a high basin called the Annapurna Sanctuary. The highest peak of the massif, Annapurna 1 Main, is the 10th highest mountain in the world at 8,091 meters above sea level. Maurice Herzog led a French expedition to its summit through the north face in 1950, making it the first of the 8,000ers to climb and the only 8,000-meter peak to be conquered on the first try. Annapurna 1 may be only the 10th highest mountain in the world, but it actually has a higher fatality rate than any other mountain, with 32 of attempts to reach the top of the mountain resulting in a fatality. Far more popular than the summit attempt is the Annapurna Circuit Trek, which circumnavigates Annapurna 1 and takes in views from the DHAULAGIRI to the mountain passes of the Annapurna Massif. Treks to the Annapurna Sanctuary, the base camp for climbing to the peaks of Annapurna, are also increasingly popular. Number 9. Nanga Parbat, Pakistan. Height 8.126 meters. Nanga Parbat, locally known as Dayama, is the 9th highest mountain in the world at 8,126 meters above sea level. Located in the Daima district of Pakistan's Gilgit-Baltistan region, Nanga Parbat is the western anchor of the Himalayas. The name Nanga Parbat is derived from the Sanskrit words Nanga and Parvata, which together mean naked mountain. The mountain is locally known by its Tibetan name Daima or Deomir, meaning huge mountain. Nanga Parbat is one of the 8,000ers, an immense dramatic peak rising above its surrounding terrain, which is also notoriously difficult to climb. Numerous mountaineering deaths in the early and mid-20th century lent it the nickname Killer Mountain. Number 8. MANASLU, Nepal. Height 8.163 meters. MANASLU is the 8th highest mountain in the world at 8.163 meters above sea level. It is located at the Mansiri Himal, part of the Nepalese Himalayas, in the west-central part of Nepal. Its name, which means mountain of the spirit, comes from the Sanskrit word Manasa, meaning intellect or soul. MANASLU was first climbed on May 9, 1956 by Toshio Imanishi and Gyalzan Nobu, members of a Japanese expedition. It is said that just as the British consider Everest their mountain, MANASLU has always been a Japanese mountain. MANASLU is the highest peak in the Gorkha district and is located 6 to 4 kilometers east of Annapurna. The mountain's long ridges and valley glaciers offer feasible approaches from all directions and culminate in a peak that soars steeply above its surrounding landscape and is a dominant feature when viewed from afar. The MANASLU region offers a variety of trekking options, with the popular MANASLU trekking route of 177 km skirts the MANASLU Massif over the pass down to Annapurna. Number 7. DHAULAGIRI, Nepal. Height 8.167 meters. The DHAULAGIRI Massif in Nepal extends 120 kilometers from the Kali-Gandaki River west to the Beri. This massif is bounded on north and southwest by tributaries of the Beri River and the southeast by Myagdikola. DHAULAGIRI is the 7th highest mountain in the world at 8.167 meters above sea level and the highest mountain within the borders of a single country, Nepal. It was first climbed on May 13, 1960 by a Swiss-Austrian Nepali expedition. The mountain is one of the most aesthetically stunning mountains and is perhaps best known for its visibility on the popular Annapurna circuit, with Annapurna just 34 kilometers away and the DHAULAGIRI a regular feature on the skyline while trekking Annapurna. The mountains are separated by the world's deepest gorge, the Kali-Gandaki Gorge, so it's not a part of the world that's particularly struggling for scenery. Number 6. Cha'ayu Himalayas, Nepal. Tibet Autonomous Region, China. Height 8.188 meters. The fourth and final member of the Everest region's 8,000-meter club is Cho Oyu, the fifth highest mountain in the world at 8.188 meters. Cho Oyu is considered the easiest of the 8,000 mountains to climb due to the gentler slopes of the ascent. It is also just a few kilometers away from the NANGA Pass, a major glaciated trading route between the Tibetan and Khumbu Sherpas. Cho Oyu means turquoise goddess in Tibetan. The mountain is the westernmost major peak of the Khumbu subsection of the Mahalangu Himalaya 20 kilometers west of Mount Everest. The mountain stands on the China-Nepal border. Number 5. Makalu Himalayas, Nepal, Tibet Autonomous Region, China. Height 8.485 meters. Makalu is the fifth highest mountain in the world at 8.485 meters. It is located in the Mahalangu Himalayas, 19 kilometers southeast of Mount Everest, on the border between Nepal and Tibet Autonomous Region, China. One of the 8,000ers, Makalu, is an isolated peak whose shape is a four-sided pyramid. Makalu has two notable subsidiary peaks. KANGCHENJUNGA or Makali 2 lies between 3 kilometers north-northeast of the main summit, rising about 5 kilometers north-northwest of the main summit across a broad plateau and connected to the KANGCHENJUNGA by a narrow 7,200 saddle is Choma Lonzo. Makalu is the third of the four 8,000-meter high mountains in the Everest Massif in Nepal. It was first climbed by a French expedition led by Jean Franco in 1955. Their ascent was most notable for the fact that a full 10 members of the expedition team climbed the mountain on the trip. In those days, it was normally only 1 or 2 climbers from each team who reached the top of the mountain on an expedition, so this was a huge deal at that time. Number 4. LHOTSE Himalayas, Nepal, Tibet Autonomous Region, China. Height 8.516 meters. LHOTSE is the fourth highest mountain in the world at 8,516 meters. Part of the Everest Massif, LHOTSE is also connected to the later peak via the South Col. LHOTSE means South Peak in Tibetan. In addition to the main summit at 8,516 meters above sea level, the mountain comprises the smaller peaks, LHOTSE Middle at 8,414 and LHOTSE Shar at 8,383 meters. The summit is on the border between Tibet and China and the Khumbu region of Nepal. LHOTSE is one of the more famous mountains largely because of its proximity to Mount Everest. The route of LHOTSE is the same as that of Mount Everest. From Everest Base Camp until you pass Camp 3 and then depart from the raised couloir from the LHOTSE phase, from where the peak of Mount LHOTSE is reached. LHOTSE is a little like the neglected younger sibling of Mount Everest. Everest gets all the attention while LHOTSE, though often considered more visually attractive, is significantly less busy. While the main summit of LHOTSE was first climbed in 1956, the LHOTSE Middle actually remained the highest unclimbed named point on Earth for decades. It was eventually first scaled in 2011 by a Russian expedition. Number 3. KANGCHENJUNGA, Nepal, India. Height 8.586 meters. KANGCHENJUNGA, also spelled KANGCHENJUNGA, is the third highest mountain in the world. It rises at an elevation of 8.586 meters in a section of the Himalayas called KANGCHENJUNGA Himal, delimited in the west by the Tamor River, in the north by the Lonak Chu and Jungsangla, and in the east by the Tista River. It lies between Nepal and Sikkim, India, with 3 of the 5 peaks main, central and south directly on the border, and the remaining 2 west and Kangbachen in Nepal's Tapojong district. Until 1852, KANGCHENJUNGA was assumed to be the highest mountain in the world, but calculations based on various readings and measurements made by the Great Trigonometrical Survey of India in 1849 came to the conclusion that Mount Everest, known as Peak 15 at that time, was the highest. Allowing for further verification of calculations, it was officially announced in 1856 that KANGCHENJUNGA is the third highest mountain in the world. KANGCHENJUNGA was first climbed on 25 May 1955 by Joe Brown and George Band, who were part of a British expedition. They stopped short of the summit in accordance with the promise given to the Chogol that the top of the mountain would remain intact. Every climber or climbing group that has reached the summit has followed this tradition. Number 2. K2. Karakoram, Pakistan, China. Height 8.611 meters. K2 at 8.611 meters above sea level is the second highest mountain in the world. It is located on the China-Pakistan border between Baltistan in the Gilgit-Baltistan region of northern Pakistan and the Taxkorgan-Tajik Autonomous Country of Xinjiang, China. K2 is the highest point of the Karakoram range and the highest point in both Pakistan and Xinjiang. K2 is known as the Savage Mountain after George Bell, a climber on the 1953 American expedition, told reporters, "It is a savage mountain that tries to kill you." Of the 5 highest mountains in the world, K2 is the deadliest, where approximately 1 person dies on the mountain for every 4 who reach the summit. Also occasionally known as Chagori or Mount Godwin Austen, other nicknames for K2 are the King of Mountains and the Mountaineer's Mountain, as well as the Mountain of Mountains, after climber Reinhold Menster titled his book about K2 the same. K2 is the only 8,000-meter peak that has never been climbed during winter or from its east face. Ascents have almost always been made in July and August, the warmest times of the year. K2's more northern location makes it more susceptible to inclement and colder weather. The peak has now been climbed by almost all of its ridges. Although the summit of Everest is at a high altitude, K2 is more difficult and dangerous to climb, due in part to its more inclement weather and comparatively greater height from base to peak. As of June 2018, only 367 people have completed the ascent, while 86 people have died attempting the climb, according to the list maintained on the list of death on 8,000ers. The summit was reached for the first time by the Italian climbers Lino Lacadeli and Achille Campononi on the 1954 Italian Karakoram expedition led by Ardito Desio. Number 1. Mount Everest, Nepal, China. Height 8.848 meters. Mount Everest is Earth's highest mountain above sea level, located in the Mahalangu Himal sub-range of the Himalayas. The international border between Nepal Province No. 1 and China-Tibet Autonomous Region runs across its summit point. The current official elevation of 8.848 meters, recognized by China and Nepal, was established by a 1955 Indian survey and subsequently confirmed by Chinese survey in 1975. In 1865, Everest was given its official English name by the Royal Geographical Society, as recommended by Andrew Weil, the British Surveyor General of India, who chose the name of his predecessor in the post, Sir George Everest. Despite Everest's objections, Mount Everest attracts many climbers, some of them highly experienced mountaineers. There are 2 main climbing routes, one approaching the summit from the southeast in Nepal, known as the Standard Route, and the other from the north in Tibet. While not posing substantial technical climbing challenges on the Standard Route, Everest presents dangers such as altitude sickness, weather and wind, as well as significant hazards from avalanches and the Khumbu Icefall. As of 2019, over 300 people have died on Everest, many of those whose bodies remain on the mountain. Tenzing Norgay and Edmond Hillary made the first official ascent of Everest in 1953 using the Southeast Ridge route. Everest has become one of the world's most famous multi-day treks.